Last week I did my top 20 summer fragrances from niche houses video. In that video I asked you guys if you wanted to see more niche or more designer videos, and I feel like a lot of you want more niche, but some of you like the balance of them. So today I thought let's do my top 20 Tom Ford fragrances video. There's a designer obviously, but they have the private blend collection, which is, you know, still a designer, but they are offering us niche stylings. I don't really consider it like extremely niche, but still, it's a designer with niche stylings, and I'm going to tell you my top 20 coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, top 20 Tom Ford. This is a video I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and it is finally done. I wanted to find out if you guys like the top 20s, but some of you don't. It seems like some of you are saying that I cover fragrances that are hard to find, it's too long to watch, all of that stuff, but then I do get a balance of people saying they do love the top 20s and they do like the hard to find fragrances. Anyway, we're talking about Tom Ford today. They are slightly easier to get, especially if it comes to their signature collection, and then the private blends are pretty readily available too. So we're going to find out what they are, but before we do that, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Tom Ford fragrances, we've got a nice balance of private blend collection fragrances here, fragrances from the signature collection, some female targeted fragrances which I find to be fairly unisex, and it's a nice balance of 20 different Tom Ford fragrances. I did have to leave off 5 fragrances. Neroli Portofino, actually it's 4 fragrances. Azure Lime, which I think is discontinued now, Fougère d'Argent, and Orchid Soleil. So I've left those fragrances off. I'm just not as into them as much as I am into these. I mean, even though I like Neroli Portofino, and recently I did a video about Neroli Portofino, I feel like there are much better fragrances out there versus the Neroli Portofino. But today we're going to find out what they are. Let's start with number 20, and this is going to be the Swear Word one. This is fucking fabulous. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of the decanter flacons, because that's what I have with some of these fragrances, and when I buy the decanter flacons I always make sure I get their atomizers, because there's no way to really use these fragrances. You'll also need a pipette, which they will not give you. You'll have to decant the fragrances in. Anyway, fucking fabulous was this most amazing fragrance that was supposed to be launched, because it came out 2-3 years ago and it was like going to be the next amazing fragrance from Tom Ford. Now Tom Ford has had much more amazing fragrances than fucking fabulous, and even though I feel like the scent is good, it's not like wow, but I feel like there are much better fragrances out there, and I feel like kind of like diminished its quality because it was called fucking fabulous, and you know, people were like thinking, God, is this a fucking fabulous fragrance? Anyway, that's number 20. But before we move on to the next one, I do want to tell you what it's all about. Lots of almonds, lots of leather. It's actually just a leather fragrance with lots of almonds and tonka beans, and tonka beans and almonds have a similar smell to them anyway. And then there's also some aromatic notes in lavender. There's some orris for a powdery iris experience, and then there's that Cashmeran note, which is the synthetic molecule to be kind of musky, ambery kind of a note. So anyway, 20 is fucking fabulous. The next one is Rose Prick, and I had a difficult time tossing up between this one at number 19 versus the number 17. We'll go with the Rose Prick. And Rose Prick I bought because I love this, you know, this color. I don't have one of these before. And I've decanted a bunch of this for my mom, and she really loves this scent when I had first introduced it to her earlier this year. But this one's all about rose. Lots of roses. There's 3 different kinds of roses here. Sichuan pepper, turmeric, patchouli, tonka beans. It's, again, a naughty kind of a you know, double entendre kind of a name, Rose Prick. The 3 fragrances that we're going to talk about back to back are in that kind of like naughty double entendre names. And you know, it's a great scent. I do enjoy this one, but I feel like it's been done before. I've smelled it before somewhere and I can't pinpoint it. It reminds me of some other fragrances that I have, and it's not anything original. Anyway, that's Rose Prick at number 19, and I decided to go with Lost Cherry at number 18. I like the scent. It's really yummy, and I feel like they went from fucking fabulous to Lost Cherry. Lost Cherry has similar notes, but they've added the cherry. They've removed the leather, I believe, because it has tonka beans, and the fucking fabulous has some tonka beans, but of course this has major doses of cherry. It's really delicious, actually. If you like fruity fragrances, fragrances, I really highly recommend this one. It's just really on the pricey side. If they had ever launched a decanter flacon like this, then the per ml price would be really low, but they never did. And again, it's delicious. I really love the way it smells. What I would have wanted is a less expensive fragrance, because I don't think it's worth the price, even though I have a bottle. And again, as I said, if they had launched a decanter flacon, the per ml price would be a lot cheaper. But then again, they're giving you 100 ml for over $300, so it's pretty expensive. Anyway, Lost Cherry at number 18. So we're going to, this one might surprise some of you. This is Tuscan Leather. And when I'm saying better versions out there, in fact, Tom Ford has better versions of this particular fragrance in the collection, which you'll hear in a bit. And here he's focusing on leather again with Fucking Fabulous. He focused on leather. Here it's Tuscan Leather. This was at one point a really phenomenal release, but it was very harsh. It had a very harsh kind of like a manufacturing plant grease, kind of greasy instruments and like, mechanic shop kind of smell. It's very, very harsh and industrial smelling is what I was going to try to say. But in the end, it's leather. It has some slight fruity touches, and it's still a great leather fragrance. All these fragrances are great. That's why I have them. But when you're ranking them, as I said, he does have a little better, a couple of different leather fragrances that I really enjoy as well. Now, the price factor I also kind of put in here. Some of the fragrances I ranked because they are really highly priced, like the Fucking Fabulous would have probably been a little higher if the price would have been less. Lost Cherry, of course, would have been higher because I really love the way Lost Cherry smells. But since it is also on the expensive side, it is lower. But Tuscan Leather, again, it's a great leather. There are so many copies of this out there from different brands. They've multiplied it. Now, I don't know if Tom Ford came out with this one first, or this kind of a leather scent, but I feel like there's a bunch of them out there that kind of like emulate this one. In fact, Tom Ford did it with Ombre Leather, and I have that at the very, not the very top, but I have that pretty high up on the list. Tuscan Leather at number 17. This next one is from their signature collection. This is Black Orchid. So Black Orchid, this is a different kind of a fragrance. I like it because it's different, it's unique, and the fact that the dark chocolate doesn't really smell like dark chocolate to me. It does a little bit, but something in here kind of like contrasts it, and I'm not getting dark chocolate as much as I should get. And in the end, I want a gourmand. It doesn't go gourmand. But there's loads of truffles, and the truffles supposedly here are the ones under the earth that, like the mushroom truffles, not truffles that's in chocolate. There's patchouli, there's orchid note, which I guess I can smell a little bit of orchid. And the fragrance I left off, Orchid Soleil, I feel like has the orchid, or the kind of like, there is a little bit of like a coconutty kind of a beachy kind of smell in here, which they've amplified in Orchid Soleil. But here, with the orchid, vanilla, incense, and spices, it's a great scent. I just wish the chocolate kind of had a more chocolatey smell. But in the end, I think this is a very, very popular fragrance. It is targeted to the ladies, but I feel like it's very unisex. Black Orchid at number 16. So next we have another ladies fragrance, and this is one that came out last year, and this is METALLIQUE. So METALLIQUE is a very unique kind of a smell, which I like that about it. It's vanilla after all. I feel like Tom Ford does lots of vanilla, Tom Ford does lots of leather, but this one actually, they added the aldehydes in it. It's got a very aldehyde, like a champagne kind of a sparkly effervescence to it, mixed with the gooey vanilla. Although it has a very powdery effect for some reason when I wear this fragrance, and I think it's coming from one of the notes called Heliotrope, which is a very powdery note. But there's Ambrette here. There's this muskiness in here, kind of like slightly medicinal. But you know what? The medicinal quality is nicely meshed with the vanilla and the aldehydes to make it a little more unique, rather than if you're smelling something like Chanel number 18, which is all Ambrette, it doesn't smell like this. There's Heliotrope in here, as I said. It's got a slight almondy touch, which you can smell here. Peru Balsam, which is very ambery and balsamic. Hawthorn and Sandalwood. You know what? I do really like this one. I do love to wear it, but in the end, I have other fragrances that I prefer a little more, but it's a solid release, I think. I don't know if you guys like this kind of a fragrance. It's a very unique concoction that I think it's definitely, I'm not sure it's like a very popular release for Tom Ford, but I feel like for a smell, it's pretty unique and nice to wear. The next one is at number 14, and this is Vanille Fatale. So Vanille Fatale ended up down here because it was a toss-up. I was going to toss it up with a few other fragrances, but currently it's here. This is what I'm feeling right now. And you know what? My tastes change, guys. So when you come back to a video and I've ranked it differently later, just keep in mind, my tastes change. So it's always like I'm loving loving it. I love this one a lot. It was competing with Tobacco Vanille, but it's kind of slipped a lot. But in the end, it's a very delicious and creamy, very, very creamy kind of a vanilla. And there's loads of vanilla here. There's suede leather. There's that leather again. Barley, myrrh, coffee, rum, tobacco. Tobacco is not very prominent here. Just does not smell like Tobacco Vanille. In fact, I have a comparison video on the channel between Tobacco Vanille and Vanille Fatale, if you're curious. There's mahogany, olibanum, frangipani, but I feel like there's like floral touches in here. It smells like there's a bit of like vanilla orchid kind of a floral touches. So in the end, it's a prettier version of Tobacco Vanille. In the end, it's more like a feminine version, I should say, but I don't really think it's very feminine. It's just not like a harsh tobacco ashy kind of a vanilla fragrance. And the tobacco note in here is not overly strong, so you might end up digging it. Anyway, Vanille Fatale is that number 14. This is not tobacco. This is Grey Vetiver. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of Tobacco Vanille. Grey Vetiver is probably one of my very first fragrances I've purchased from Tom Ford. In fact, I think I bought it around 2010 or 2011. Right after this one, I bought White Patchouli, which I don't have anymore in my collection, which I really loved. But this one, Grey Vetiver, is a really, really lovely designer vetiver fragrance. It's actually a vetiver, not so harsh. I feel like the citruses that they've added in here, which has a big dose of citruses, gives it a more fresher experience, even though, you know, the vetiver can be very dense and earthy and kind of like woody, like, because, you know, woody notes are very dense to me. So in addition to the vetiver and citruses, which actually freshens it up, you have more woody notes in here. There is a little bit of an orangey touch in addition, so you can pick it up in the background. There's like orange touch in there. And the orange kind of reminds me of Terre de Hermes, a little bit, not too much. And there are some floral notes in here in addition to some oak moss. So in the end, it's a solid release. I think this is a very, very quality vetiver fragrance. Grey Vetiver is also a great name. It is on the gray side, and if you like vetiver and you want to stick to designers, definitely check that one out. You can get, even though these prices for the signature fragrances are around $180 toss-up, their prices are high compared to other designers. I think you can get them at the discounters as 100 mLs for around $100 to $120. So it's still high, but in the end you can find them at the discounters. So this next one is a toss-up between two fragrances that are very, very similar. One's the male version, Noir Extreme, and one's the female version, Noir Femme. And I have a comparison video of these two fragrances, and in the end they're very similar. In the female version, they've just amped up floral touches a little stronger. If your nose is not so strong, you cannot pinpoint them. Like, you won't notice the difference because they're very, very close. So Noir Extreme, Noir Femme focuses on kulfi note. It's an Indian pistachio ice cream, so it is on the gourmand side. There's vanilla, there's cardamom, and the cardamom is really delicious in here. The combination with that pistachio vanilla ice cream and the cardamom, really, really lovely. And I love pistachio ice cream. I absolutely love it. There's amber in here, there's nutmeg, there's sandalwood. It's interesting because this is a flanker of the original Tom Ford Noir. I feel like they should have released it as a separate fragrance and made it a unisex fragrance rather than first release this, and then go ahead and release the Femme version, which is very, very close, if not identical to the release. The only one I have in the Noir series is this one, and I really love it, but I feel like it's very, very unisex. Either way, it's at number 12. So this next one is the only aqua in my collection. I recently spoke about it on my designer summer fragrances video. This is Mandarino di Amalfi Aqua. I really love this one, guys. Mandarin oranges have become one of my favorite smells recently. I just love the way they smell. This journey is always changing and evolving. Started out really loving lemons, getting into the bergamots, really loving oranges, and now I'm digging into more citruses like mandarin orange. I've done the lime thing. I've done the, well, I haven't really done the grapefruit thing too much, so I'm just exploring the different citruses, and this one has become a winner. I don't have the original, the one in the more expensive bottles, but the aqua is really, really pleasant, and there's a really nice clean muskiness about this, and it has nice longevity with it as well. It's not like intense or beast mode, but it just really, really smells really pleasant. What we have here are mandarin oranges, and orange blossom, grapefruit, lemons, bergamot, mint. Really delicious, guys. If you don't know it, check it out. We're gonna go with number 10, and this is an oddball one. You guys are gonna think it's really oddball. Why is it here? Because I absolutely love this one, and I bought a large bottle for me just to wear for myself. It's, after all, a skin scent, but it is a really, really sexy, sexy, sexy skin scent. This is White Suede. Why do I have this? First of all, if you guys like musk, the musk from the brand Kiehl's, this is kind of in that ballpark, but it's a slightly leathery, slightly floral version of that. Again, it's on the pricier side, but this is available at discounters. And for some reason, this has not been discontinued like Azure Lime has. But it's so good, guys. If you like musk and if you love wearing musks, this one just does not disappoint. Again, it's a skin scent. A lot of musks tend to be skin scents, but if you like skin scents and you wear it and you have your loved one, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or whatever, husband, wife, partner, when they get close to you, the smell is phenomenal. This is really, really good. So this one has notes of suede, musk, lily of the valley, saffron, sandalwood, thyme, amber, olibanum. That olibanum note is keep coming up with Tom Ford fragrances, but this one, oh my god, it is really a great concoction. Nothing is overwhelming. It's subdued scent. It's more close to the skin, as I said, and just somebody has to get close to you to smell you, but when they do, they're gonna really love the way you smell. Anyway, White Suede is at number 10. This next one is a release from this year for men. It's Beau de Jour, this one right here. So Beau de Jour is that really awesome fougere with loads of lavender. It's a huge doses of lavender. It's like lavender balm, I would call it, but in the fougere style. It's not a lavender perfume, but more like a men's barbershop-y fougere. With this one, it used to be part of the private blend, and they brought it into the Signature Collection. Signature Collection is pricey, $180 for 100 ml, but it's better than buying it at like 300 something for 100 ml for their regular lineup of private blend. And then when they're actually not like they're more expensive private blend collection, and I think I misquoted the price on this one. It's even more expensive. It's like 400 something. So it's a good thing that they did it. It is on the pricey side, but this is a really, really solid fougere fragrance for guys. I really love it. Lavenders, lots of lavender, but it also has rosemary, patchouli, amber, mint, oak moss, geranium. It's really good, guys. If you can get a discount on that, get it at that time if you think it's a little on the pricier side. Okay, so this next one is probably a fragrance that's been copied to death, and I feel like Tom Ford did it first. This is a fragrance called Oud Wood, and I feel like this particular style of oud, and this oud in here is not your authentic real oud. I believe this is a synthetic oud, which I'm fine with, but Oud wood is oud rosewood, sandalwood, cardamom, vanilla, Sichuan pepper, vetiver, tonka. And I feel like what I get here is mostly the oud rosewood and cardamom. And that combo I see a lot in, like any brands that copy the oud thing, and they usually end up copying this to me. I feel like this has been redone over and over again. But this is the one that did it first. And it smells great. It's very, very classy. It's very woody, just spicy. It smells great. And when it's sprayed on me, I really just love the way it smells. And I feel like since it's such a winner as a scent, it's a great, great creation from this house. That's why it's been copied. Whenever somebody copies a lot of fragrances because it's successful. Look at clone houses. They're copying things that are successful all the time. And this has been copied not only by clone houses, but also other brands that, trying to emulate something that's kind of similar to this. Anyway, this is Oud Wood. It's an awesome entry-level oud with lots of spices. Now, this next one is Ombre leather, this one right here. What I like about this one is they took Tuscan leather to the next level because first they launched it as an exclusive private blend that was a limited edition, and then they brought it back later as a signature collection fragrance. Again, it's $180, so it's pricey, but you can get this at the discounters currently because it is out there, or you can get discounts if you can. I would wear it. This one has leather, jasmine, amber, oak moss, cardamom, patchouli, and I recently spoke about this one in my leather fragrances video. And what I get is probably like fabric. I get like fabric material with leather material kind of like meshed together, and I love that about it. It really, really is a wonderful fragrance. So that's Ombre leather at number 7. Now this one is probably also an oddball for you guys. It's a green fragrance. It's from one of the greens that they launched, and I think they launched 4 different green fragrances: Vert de Bois, Vert de Encens, Vert Bohème, Vert something else, I can't remember, but this is Vert de Bois. I really love Vert de Bois. This has notes of poplar tree buds, olive tree, mastic resin, woody notes, patchouli, and ouzo. And I feel like they've gone to the Mediterranean here. They've got the olive tree, and they also have the ouzo note, like a anise licorice kind of note. Did they go to Greece? I don't know, but this is really smelling wonderful. Really, really great. And I think also I should say all the greens are great. I don't own every single one of them, and I really love green fragrances, and I want to own them, but I just don't have the budget to buy every single one of them. All 4 of them are great, as I said, but in the end I have Vert de Bois, and I think it smells phenomenal. So that is at number 6. We're getting close, guys. Can you guess my number 1? And at number 5, this is this was a tough one. I have to like really maneuver these around, but Tobacco Oud is number 5. This is so good. This is really, really good. In fact, every single one of the fragrances in this top 5 are just smelling great. Tobacco Oud is that, you know, spicy, oudy, slightly skanky kind of a concoction that's really, really amazing. It's a great concoction and I just love wearing it, but there is, you know, some dirty side to it. It smells very, very smoky, ashy, and slightly like BO. Slightly. It's like, it doesn't appear when you're smelling it out of here, but a lot of people that are sensitive to smells would think this does not smell great. In the end, it smells really, really great. All I get is a tobacco ash. Really like tobacco ash with like bright spices and slight booziness from whiskey, because that whiskey note really adds the smell of like a brightness. Now, this also reminds me of when I was very young, my dad and his buddies used to sit and smoke cigars and drink whiskey and things like that. And that smell, you know, that smell is right here. It's captured in this bottle. It's left an impression because, you know, mom said, go with dad, sit with dad, stay there, and don't say anything. So all I do is watch, you know, dad and his buddies smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. And that's what this reminds me of. So it is ashy. It's a little dirty. It smells like, you know, tobacco waste, but it smells amazing. Anyway, Tobacco Oud is really, really awesome. Sadly, it's at number 5 because I feel like this one's a lot better, and I divided this one up because it's Tuscan Leather Intense, and I love Tuscan Leather Intense a lot more than the original Tuscan Leather. And here again, they've gone in a green direction and slightly boozy direction. It's got lots of leather, there's suede, there's slight animalic notes in here. There's Davana. Davana is the green note that kind of sort of smells like licorice, a little bit boozy. There's woody notes and raspberry. Absolutely love this one. It is so good, guys. If you like Tuscan Leather and you want that alternative side to it, that you're kind of tired of the original smell of Tuscan Leather, and you also, you know, burnt out on ombre leather, this is awesome. Awesome stuff. That's Tuscan Leather Intense at number 4. This one might surprise you, but then again, it might not if you know me and you've been following me since my old channel. Noir de Noir. Absolute love with this smell. It's so good. Now this one actually was probably one of the first private blends I bought, dating back to like 2014, even 2013 I think. And I used to wear this one a lot along with Rose Oud from by Kilian. Not together, separately. Those two rose fragrances garnered so many compliments. I don't wear them as much that I used to, but this is another one of those fragrances that has been a great creation from Tom Ford. It's even when I bought it back then, it had a lot more intensity and a lot more denseness, and I feel like they've made it a lot weaker now, but the smell is just amazing, guys. Such a great scent. This is lots of roses, lots of patchouli, those truffles that grow underground that are like mushrooms, vanilla, oud, saffron, oak moss, floral notes. Absolutely love this one. It just smells great, and when you're when you're a little sweaty in the heat outside, the projection starts, and the phenomenal smell. Anyway, Noir de Noir number 3, and can you guess number 2 and 1? Fougere Platine at number 2. I'm obsessed with this smell. Here we go with the Fougere, but this time going in the green direction with like a Artemisia, which is, you know, in that same ballpark as Davana that's in here, licorice, anise, all of these kind of like greenish, boozy, lightly boozy, licoricey smells, and the Fougere Platine. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love it more than Fougere d'Argent, and I have, you know, I bought a bottle of Fougere d'Argent, but I didn't even feature it here in this list because I just don't wear it as much. But Fougere Platine is phenomenal. Clary sage, tobacco, artemisia, woody notes, lavender, honey, cedar, olibanum. Again, it's definitely beat this because this one is all about lavender, and this is a Fougere, but it's a different kind of Fougere, not using, you know, your typical Fougere-like notes, and the lavender does appear here, but it's not your main player, which is the main player in Beau de Jour. But this one is actually phenomenal. I love the smell. It has great longevity, and I wear it, you know, any time of the year, and I feel like it's a solid release. Anyway, Fougere Platine is at number 2. What's number 1? Can you guess? So Tobacco Vanille happens to be number 1. You know, I just love the smell. It's a great, another one of those great releases from Tom Ford. I feel like the 4 awesome releases from Tom Ford happen to be Tobacco Vanille, Noir de Noir, Oud Wood, and Tuscan Leather. And obviously you see Tuscan Leather slip away to the bottom because I like the Tuscan Leather Intense and Ombre Leather a little more. But they came out with these original scents and they made some amazing scents for us to consume. Now it is owned by Estee Lauder, Tom Ford, and they have watered down the fragrances, but the smells have stayed the same and they smell amazing. This is tobacco, vanilla, dried fruits, spices, cacao, tonka beans, tobacco blossom. Awesome. This is my normal or traditional fragrance to wear on Thanksgiving because it smells like Thanksgiving. It smells like the holidays. And again, I'm going back to the whole idea of when my mom and dad or whoever relatives smoked during the holidays, and you got the spices from the holidays and the cigarette smoke all combined together. Phenomenal. That's why it's at number 1. It's really, really good. And I would go to the extreme of saying that has beast mode kind of performance. Anyway, those are my favorite Tom Ford fragrances, my top 20 favorite Tom Ford fragrances. What are your thoughts? Do you like these fragrances? Actually, I should ask, do you like Tom Ford as a house? Do you consider the private blend more niche? I mean, in the end, it's still a designer, basically. It's a designer, and there's, it's a luxury collection of fragrances. In fact, the whole collection, I feel like it's more expensive. Tom Ford, everything is really, really expensive. So in the end, they're giving us expensive fragrances as well. Anyway, those are my favorites. Let me know if you like these. Let me know if I've missed any. Of course, as I said, I don't own every single fragrance, but if there is one you like more, let me know. Put some comments down. And I love a lot of the fragrances from this house, but I just don't own every single one of them. So I'd like to find out what you guys are fans of. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. This is Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you guys are slowly going outside and seeing things, but wear your masks and stay safe. Have a good one. Thanks so much for watching. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Bye bye.